And Assalamu alaikum. Is this too loud? Am I echoing? Is this okay? All right, looks fine. Okay, yeah, so quick introduction. I'm Ahsan Jamil. I'm the managing partner for Sai Venture Capital. We're a local venture capital company incorporated in Pakistan. Thank you. Incorporated in Pakistan. So what I wanted to talk about today, we've been around for about a year and wanted to share some observations and really a thought process that we feel will help our ecosystem a little bit. So I want to start, in the last 3 months, I've had many different startups come talk to us. And today's conversation is about what we control. It's about what we can do and less about the macro. So most of the startups I've engaged with in this last 3 months have talked about the macroeconomic situation, the capital raise, and so on and so forth. We can't impact the macro direction completely. And I always encourage the startups and new organizations to focus on what they can control. And that's what we want to talk about today. So the other thing I want everybody who's listening, and especially the founders, to get their arm around is the word technology enterprise. And the reason inside venture capital we use that term versus just a startup is because we want the entire ecosystem, or we believe the entire ecosystem and the founders need to have a very foundational mindset when they're thinking about their journey, a foundational technology mindset. Especially in 2021, when we started our journey, there was a very rapid growth mindset, and our team is over here. Amar, who's sitting back there somewhere, I can't see in the light. We've gone over 100 plus companies, and we've invested in 2 or 3 because while they all had great growth plans, we wanted to see some fundamental technology principles in their journey. So I want to talk about a couple of things from a technology enterprise perspective. So if a founder in a startup thinks from a long-term perspective, not just the KPIs that are in a developed market, their mindset will be different. So what you see over here in the graph is an abstraction of how a typical company in a developed market goes through. So on this graph, you'll see 1, 2, 3, and 4, and those are really technology events. So I'll take a retailer's example, for example, Sears. All of you who are in retail would know about their journey, a 100-plus-year-old company. Obviously, AWS didn't exist, digitization didn't exist. These things came along their business path. And every time one of these things came through, they incorporated it into their business, wanted to serve their customers. And so the dip that you see after 1, 2, 3, and 4 is really the investment that happens, and the company takes a slowdown on growth, incorporates advantages in technology, and then goes back on their journey if they do it successfully. So the advantages in a developed market is for this approach is they get to the market, they get to capitalize on it, but there's a con to it as well. All along the way, technology innovation doesn't happen sequentially. So database structures came 10, 15 years ago, right? Digitization came earlier. Personalization is just coming in. AI is just coming in. So technology innovation doesn't have a predefined path. So every time these companies would integrate new technologies, adopt them, build them, there would be an expense to it. They'd have to get rid of tech debt. They would have to, basically in order to keep up with competition, continue to incorporate. What we're seeing in Pakistan and what really pains us, right, is that a lot of our founders and a lot of our startup organizations, they are mesmerized by the opportunity which exists, right? We're not very digital. We have an internet outreach, but that opportunity is very much in their face, and they're very focused on the business aspect and connectivity. But they almost make the same mistakes that these companies in the developed market made as well, as far as technology journey is concerned. And that really isn't the right approach on how you build a company in our region. We can't control the size of the market. We can't control some of the macro stuff. but we absolutely can and must do technology. Oh, sorry. Can you guys hear me? Were you guys hearing me before? Okay. So when, as investors in technology, when we are meeting these organizations and these startups who come to us, it pains me, it pains our team when we see them walk us through their technology plan almost in the same manner that the companies that have done what they're doing in developed markets already. So the orchestration, if you see on this graph, as we try to explain the point, 1, 2, 3, 4 were events that happened. Good companies should be able to orchestrate their technology journey, taking in those learnings. It should not be the same way. So there's so much focus amongst the technology startups on the same capturing the market, the finance aspect, and that's really important. But the technology thinking is almost absent. It's almost devoid of the knowledge they can gain from companies similar to them in developed markets. And there's no reason for that to happen because that information exists out there. But what it does require for our companies to do is really give the technology thinking a lot more focus. And I explain this to startups and founders is that if you're sitting with a competitor who's been in this space in a non-digital way for the last 15, 20 years, that competitor who you're taking market share from in the situation that we're not creating new markets, in that situation, you're going to go capture that market share. And that incumbent has all the advantages over you, except one. And that's your technology advantage. If you shortchange that and only go to a digitization phase, you're not going to survive long. Technology enterprise mindset says, I'm going to survive for years to come. So when you do not think about technology and it's architectural thinking, you're really not positioning yourself for tech to be an enabler. You're just going to reach parity. And digitization, guys, is just parity. It doesn't mean anything in the times going forward. Your technology thinking underneath is what gives you the advantage to capture market share that you're trying to go after. Now, that doesn't always mean that you go and invest millions of dollars before you have a business case. It doesn't mean that. But technology thinking should be a passion. It's what we want the founders in our space, in a developing market, to really embrace. It's hard work. People in large organizations in the developed market, they get paid in millions to do that. We unfortunately don't have all of that knowledge here, but we strongly encourage founders that when you get to that part of the conversation with investors, at least for Sci Venture Capital, that's what matters. And I'll tell you, we just last month closed a partnership deal with a frontier technology venture capital company in Dallas. And they invest in 3.0, blockchain, and so on and so forth. I'm being told my time is up, so I'll wrap it up. And they loved the idea for Sci Venture Capital, for this space. Maybe shuts it automatically. So anyway, I'll close my point by saying this. Any of you who are startups here and founders here, don't make technology an afterthought. It is your number one advantage. It's what probably attracts long-term capital the most. So even though you don't invest in it in your early stage, definitely think about it very hard and make it very impressive, because it's the thing that investors look for when we see that you will beat the existing competition. Thank you for your time.